to call the meeting to order and do some introductions. But before we do that, I'd like to lead us in a pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you. And now that we have solved our technology dilemma, welcome everyone. And it's good to finally get underway with the search for the new superintendent in the New Bedford district. Before we do that, I thought we would, before we talk about the search a bit, I thought it would be useful to sort of introduce ourselves with a little information about ourselves so that we get a sense of who we are. And I will begin and just let you know that I am Dana Molifari. I'm the president of Bridgewater State University. I have spent my entire career here in Massachusetts in public higher education. I have served on the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education, and I recently, in the last couple of months, have resigned from that board for personal reasons. I have served as the chair of the Council of Presidents. I have worked for 18 months as the advisor, Governor Patrick's advisor in education, and really led the effort with the Readiness Project in the Commonwealth. So that's where I've been. And prior to Bridgewater, I worked at Mount Wachusett Community College, here in this region at Bristol, and prior to that at Cape Cod Community College. So I've been in the public sector my entire life. So that's me. All right.
My name is Lawrence Finnerty, and I'm a New Bedford School Committee member. I spent 35 years in public education in New Bedford Public Schools as an elementary school teacher, a junior high counselor, a supervisor, a director of special education, and finally the last 6 years as assistant superintendent of schools. I am now in my third year on the New Bedford School Committee and looking forward to the work that we have in front of us.
My name is Isaiah Houtman. I am currently in my 10th year of teaching at New Bedford High School. I'm also a track and field coach for the winter and the spring teams. I am a homegrown New Bedford person. I went through the school system, graduated in 1999, attended the College of Holy Cross, and 4 years later, 2003, I was back at the high school teaching.
Hi, good evening. My name is Catherine Resendiz. I am the greenhouse master at New Bedford High School. I am currently a field hockey coach. I have coached as a head coach since 1995, coaching track as well as field hockey now. I am a product of the New Bedford Public Schools. I, like Isaiah, went through the school system, graduated in 1988. I have went to college and came back just like Isaiah and was teaching and then was an instructional coordinator and now a housemaster.
Great.
I also reside in New Bedford, and I am a parent of New Bedford Public School child as well.
Great.
I'm Marcia Fauché. I too am a product of the New Bedford Public Schools. Have been teaching and working in New Bedford for the past 25 years and taught for 9 years in New Hampshire. And for the last 11 years, this was my 12th, I have been the principal of the Carlos Pacheco Elementary School. Prior to that, I was a classroom teacher and a supervisor. So.
Great.
My name is Matt George, and I spent most of my career in the Brockton Public Schools. I spent 32 years in Brockton, serving as a teacher, a building administrator, then in charge of HR for a number of years, and my last 11 years as superintendent of schools there. Since my retirement from the Brockton Public Schools, I've been serving as a consultant with the Department of Education. Been involved in searches before for superintendents as well as principals, and have been serving really been doing some consulting work around leadership and governance in a number of school districts in the state that require assistance in both of those areas. One of the interesting things that I've been doing also during these past 6 years, I've been chairing a board of trustees that formed a model school for Catholic education in the Archdiocese of Boston. And it's located in Brockton. It has 580 students, and we're real proud of that.
Great. Josh, can you hear us?
I can.
We've been introducing ourselves and just giving a bit about our backgrounds, and I welcome you to do that.
Thank you. My name is Josh Mitchell, Program Officer at the Gates Foundation. Focusing on teacher effectiveness work, specifically working in Memphis, Tennessee, and also supporting principal leadership efforts through the foundation across our portfolio. Prior background, spent 10 years teaching in the Boston area and the Bay Area in San Francisco, and spent 5 years as principal in Washington, D.C. at the high school level, and started working with Secretary Duncan in Chicago, running the school's office for him, and then running the innovation office for Chancellor Reagan and Chancellor Harrison before coming to Gates. Very excited to be involved and appreciate the opportunity to support what seems to be a great process for bringing in new superintendent to Bedford.
Thank you. I also want to introduce, or have themselves introduce themselves, our support folks, and say two of them, Lisa Dunaway and Lisa Shaw. We got the Lisa team here.
My name is Lisa Dunaway. I've been the administrative assistant in the superintendent's office, along as a confidential secretary for 9 years. Previous to that, I was a secretary at the Ashley School for 16 years. I'm also graduated from New Bedford High School, and I have 2 daughters that also graduated from New Bedford High School.
I'm Lisa Shaw. I work for President Molifaria. I've worked for him for about 5 years, and I've worked at Bridgewater State University for about 15 years. I grew up in California, not New Bedford, but I've been in Massachusetts since about 1986.
Thank you. So those are the folks, we're all the folks that comprise the team that will be directly involved in this search in some way or other. I want to follow protocol, do a roll call of search committee members for the official record. So I will begin with you, Josh, and let me just call your name, and we would all then say present. Josh Edelman.
Present.
Marcia Fauché.
Present.
Matt George.
Present.
Larry Finnerty.
Present.
Kathy Resendiz.
Present.
Isaiah Hauptman.
Present.
So we are all present at this meeting. Before we begin, I want to just relay something to you that gives you a sense of why I think this search is so important and what matters. We at Bridgewater just recently have gotten involved over the last year with a project at the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota. You may have a year ago or so saw their program on 2020, and they discussed the poorest communities in America, and it was identified as the poorest community in America. And so we have been doing some work with them. And I was there last week and just returned over the weekend. They live in extreme poverty, highest poverty in America, the least educated in terms of the adult population, 85% alcoholism among adults, a suicide rate that is 35% of the population, the worst poverty I've ever seen. In the midst of this is a school called the Red Cloud School, named after a famous Native American chief. And I've spent time with Red Cloud now twice, and what I saw was something that boggles the mind, and that is a community, extreme poverty, low education among the parents, tremendous dysfunction, and one of the highest performing schools I've ever visited in my life. And Josh, you may be familiar with this. They win a significant number of Gates scholarships every year. They have a graduation rate north of 90%. Their college-going population rate is somewhere around 80%. And the highest functioning learning environment I think I've ever experienced, and I've been around education for 40 years. It is a signal, to us and to every community that anything is possible. And I think the right kind of leadership, the commitment, the focus can produce results that are astounding. So as we embark upon this search, I think, as we look for a leader for the district, it's a leader who has that kind of vision, a vision that says that every child can learn, that anything is possible if in fact we can marshal our resources, marshal our people, and really move forward in a way that makes sense. So it is, I know my hope, and I'm sure the hope of all of you and this community, that we're able to find someone with that kind of a vision. I know that the mayor has entered the room, and at this point, before we go on to discussing timeline, meeting schedule, and those sorts of things, I would invite Mayor Mitchell to make any comments he'd like to make at this point.
Oh, I would be happy to. First of all, it's great to see all of you guys assembled. I know I speak for a lot of other people in saying that we, the school committee, have been able to assemble an all-star team to select, to help us select the next superintendent. And I'm just so pleased that you guys, each one of you, was willing to jump on board and devote some time out of your busy lives to make it happen. And I really do appreciate it. And all of you are getting to know one another. I know all of you, and I know all of you will, each one of you will enjoy the process, but also enjoy one another along the way. But as I said to each one of you at different points, what we're really trying to do here is achieve excellence. This school district needs a superintendent that is worthy of its citizens and worthy of the students who go to school in all of our schools. And I'm confident that the process that has been established and will be led by you, Dana, and be led along the way with your 6 colleagues here will put us in the best position to succeed. There's never a guarantee, there's no guarantee of anything in life that things will work out perfectly, but having a group like this with both an inside New Bedford perspective as well as a statewide perspective and a national perspective, all together will, I think, put us in a position where we will have a great crop of candidates, I say we, the school committee, to choose from. And what I would just ask of all of you is, through a process that is consistent with the open meeting law, to let us, the school committee, know what we can do to support you. One way it seems to me right up front is, to the extent that we can define the kind of leadership that we're looking for to assist you, we should be doing that. That can take whatever form you want from us. We can submit something in writing, we can do it orally, whatever works for you. But to my mind, and I think I've mentioned this to each of you along the way, I'm looking for somebody who excels at organizational leadership. And one might say, well, of course you want somebody like that. That's stating the obvious. Well, I am and I'm not. I think there are, in the education leadership world, there are certain trends. You know, one day it may be you know, in vogue to hire somebody who specializes in charter schools, and the next day it may be in vogue, you know, to hire superintendents who have, you know, gone through certain superintendent training programs like the Broad Institute and one of these places. To me, or to someone who has a specific expertise, such as in, you know, ELL or AP, whatever it is, you can pick any number of expertises that might suit somebody in that position. But for me, it's just it is a matter of really good leadership. Someone who knows how to get along with people, someone who can operate in an environment where people skills are really premium. I think, and I've applied this principle as I've hired people in my administration for important managerial positions. It's the managerial skills that matter, and those are harder to teach than the certain subject matter expertises that are to be applied by the managers. You get a capable person in who's got good people skills, that person can learn up the nuts and bolts of the work. It's harder to do the opposite. So, as I said, I'm just I'm pleased that all of you have been willing to join us here. You know, just to go around the room, you know, Matt I described you in places as the dean of former school superintendents in Massachusetts, but I don't think that's too much of a stretch. I mean, Matt excelled as the superintendent of Brockton in the 80s and the 90s, so much so that the city of Brockton just named a school after him, right? He does. I'll do the bragging for him, but you know, Matt George is a known quantity in education circles around the state, and you know, when I've told people that Matt George is on the committee, people at the state level and people in education circles, they've all said, well, that's a great catch. Marcia Fauché is, I've described you as a rock star in our school system, Marcia. I know. I'm going to embarrass every one of you, so it's my opportunity to do that. But Marcia took over the Carlos Pacheco School a few years ago. It was struggling on all fronts, and struggling is measured in every standard way: test scores, student parent participation, student discipline, everything. And she's made, in the last few years, the Carlos Pacheco School, despite being fed largely by public housing projects, into the top one or two, consistently the top one or two elementary schools as measured by MCAS in the city of New Bedford. And whatever the secret sauce you bring to the job, Marcia, we want you to bring it to the committee. Dan Molifaria needs no introduction at all. He's invested himself in New Bedford. His roots are here. He runs a major university that's just up the road, and he has put his money where his mouth is. He's invested in our school system. The bridge program that he started at Bridgewater, got up and running this year, paid great dividends. Ask any parent at Roosevelt whose child participated in the program how their child did. It was a program, it is a program designed to introduce students, to junior high school students, to college and to college life as a way of enabling them to envision what life in college would be, to give them something to aspire to. And it's working, and we've gotten great reviews, and you're the man to lead the team, absolutely. My colleague Larry Finity from the school committee has over 30 years of experience in this school system. He is a widely recognized authority among a number of things, but most of all in special ed. He knows the system inside and out, and everyone respects Larry's judgment. Larry has never been shy about voicing his opinion on the school committee, and that's why he's, among other reasons, why he's perfect to be on the school committee. It's the level-headed judgment and independent thinking that really adds value to the process. Isaiah Houtman There's a Renaissance man from Bedford High School. Yeah, I ran into your aunt today, Isaiah. She was not telling me about your athletic prowess, but she was telling me about your musical prowess. She somehow the athletic stuff didn't come in at all. But you, Isaiah is a product of New Bedford, excelled in sports and academics and in music at the high school. Came back after attending Holy Cross. Came back to give back to the community, and he is a math teacher and a track coach. He excels in both and is widely recognized as excelling in both, and everyone respects what you do, Isaiah. Kathy Resendiz, another person who is thoroughly respected throughout the school system, a housemaster, a parent of a student in the school system, and someone who, again, another product of New Bedford High School, who came back here to make a difference in the community, and she does it all the time. Our team is 3-0 now, or 2-0.
We just won today, 4-0-1.
So there you go. So Kathy's the girls' head field hockey coach as well. She knows how to motivate young people, but she also commands their respect in a big way. She knows the system inside and out, and not only as a student, as a parent, as a teacher, and now as a housemaster. And then I assume Josh is on the phone.
He is.
So Josh is hearing all this, hearing me drone on from. I hope he's not sitting on his couch eating bonbons right now. I'm sure he's at his desk though. Josh Edelman is a longtime friend of mine who has seen it all, has done it all in education. He's taught at private schools, at inner city public schools. He's been a principal. He's been a national leader in education circles, especially when he was working under Arnie Duncan in Chicago over the last few years. He gets what makes schools work and what doesn't work in schools, and he is a student of educational leadership. He's now heading up the Gates Foundation's teacher improvement program. That's not the exact title. He can tell you what the exact title is, but he's been doing it at a national level and bring a national perspective to the job, and I trust his judgment about leadership implicitly. He really, he's seen good leadership, he's seen poor leadership, he knows the difference, and I'm pleased that I was able to rope him in to doing this. So that's about all I have to say, Mr. Chairman. As I said, you have your work cut out for you in the months ahead, but I have tremendous confidence in all of you, and I know the results will be terrific. I think we'll have a real terrific set of folks to choose from at the end of the day, and I look forward to it. And you should let us know how we can best support your efforts.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
I get to go out to the audience here. Usually I'm sitting right here, but it's nice to retire. I'll just sit back and watch.
Thanks. Well, there are a few things that we'd like to cover. One of the things that may be of value, and I think we're going to be spending what is likely to be a lot of time together, and I think we know what it is we want. It might be helpful for each of us to sort of talk about. Obviously, we want the kind of leadership skills that the mayor described, but from our own perspectives. And we come to this with different perspectives, and I think that's a credit to the mayor and his choice of a search committee, because I think that's critical in really helping to find the right person, is to have different perspectives at the table. But it would be interesting to hear the perspective of each of you in terms of what your hopes are in terms of this committee and the outcomes of this committee. And Matt, it might be helpful to start with you, since you've been through this process a number of times.
Well, I think it would be very interesting to see what the community is really looking for in leadership as well for the New Bedford Public Schools. But clearly, I think that as the mayor has outlined, you're really looking for someone that has very strong whether it's people skills, organizational skills, someone that's very well experienced, someone that understands New Bedford, someone that's willing to understand New Bedford, regardless of where they're from, and has a sense of the community, has a sense of the students, and one that has very, very high expectations and a proven record of being able to achieve that in whatever environment that they've been working in, whether it's in a school environment or higher education, or wherever it may be, a person that has really proven themselves. And I think you'd have to really look at their backgrounds in terms of not only what someone says, but evidence of their successes and the challenges that they have faced, and their ability to be able to bring together a district this size and have this entire district rally around the need to move forward and achieve the very highest standards for every single youngster that's here.
Marcia?
I guess the first thing I'm going to say is, as a school principal, to me, one of the most important people skills that's going to speak volumes to my colleagues and myself would be approachability. It needs to be someone that we, as principals, can feel as though we can go to have conversations with, disagree with respectfully, but to have that type of dialogue. The organizational skills, that goes with the job of being a superintendent, there's no question in my mind. But high expectations is the other thing. Having turned around a school, I know that it's that level of high expectation that's really critical, as well as making yourself available to the community, because the community is the backbone behind the children, and without it, we're not going to succeed. It's bringing all the parties together. So this person has to really understand that and be able to bring us all together.
Great.
It's critical.
Great. Josh, what's your sense of what your hopes are for this committee and the outcomes?
Well, I think Matthew and Marcia, and that kind of who spoke the last two times correctly, hit on a really important point. I think number one, first and foremost, is about people. People feel comments that go with that on. They like to focus on that, knowing the community, working with, not to the community. That management piece and understanding how to develop talent from within and without is very important. The point Marcia made about high expectations is non-negotiable in my mind. You have to have someone who sees the potential in all students to be able to aspire to post-secondary success, and creating multiple pathways for that to happen. Obviously, I'd be remiss, given what I do for a living, if I didn't offer the fact that both teachers and principals are two of the most important figures. Teachers as individuals in every classroom, and principals as the individuals that facilitate the learning environment for those teachers to create greatness for every student in their classrooms are incredibly important. Somebody who believes in that, believes in the teachers and principals as the change agents in each building would be very important for me to see. And then lastly, obviously organizational skills, but someone who understands there is a business side of this and can run it with a savviness given the nature of the challenging economy that we're in. Have to have somebody who is able to keep that in mind as they're trying to put program in place.
Thank you. Larry.
I'm looking for someone, first of all, I'm a member of a committee, so it will evolve as we discuss things, but someone who's got a proven track record of improving educational outcomes for students. And those can be different for different students. Someone who looks upon our challenges, and we have many, and looks upon those challenges as opportunities to do something about them. Because we can improve greatly, but we're not there right now. Can bring all the constituencies together, including the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, our parents, our agency people, uniting together so that we have ownership of the problem. I don't think we have ownership in the community right now. I think there's a lot of division. I think that when things don't go well, there should be a sense that we are not doing well. That's our school. That's our high school. How can we improve things? And when things don't go well, it should be taken personally. So getting that ownership. There's someone who's going to be respected at the end of the day. After 6 months, if the person is respected, that's what I'd be looking for. It doesn't mean they'll be liked by everybody. I think that Ted Kennedy once said, if you're going to Congress and you want a friend, bring a dog. You might need that in New Bedford. Buy a dog. But if you're respected by everyone, the parents, the agencies, the community people, the Teachers Association, and the Department of Education, then I think you're probably doing your job. Whether they like you is another issue. We need improved results, and I think we're poised and ready for someone who can come in and lead us towards that.
Isaiah?
As a teacher, I've had discussions, I've had it with the mayor before and with other teachers. We're looking for, or in my opinion, someone that will be there long-term. There's been too much turnover over the past 4 or 5 years in the school system, and that also is not creating a positive outcome. So we're looking for people that are willing to put in the changes, see them through, and if not, listen to the teachers on our level, listen to the administrators, and have everybody at the same time on the same level throughout their entire stay there. I think all levels of the education system need to be on the same page, and I don't think right now that's where our city is at.
Kathy?
Okay, I can say something from everyone. I agree with Matt about, New Bedford, that they really have to understand, who we are in New Bedford and the community. I think, with high expectations, that this person needs a vision, and it's got to be a shared vision. Once he has this vision, that we all have to follow along with the vision. I think it's very important that this person can communicate well. As Masha said, with principals, they are the most important person in their school, but we need to communicate down. Like myself, I'm not a principal, so it needs to be communicated down, and then my job is to communicate it down to the teachers, which ultimately goes to the student. And of course, students should be, at the end of the day, like Larry said, he should be respected. That person should be respected because the decision he or she made was for the students and for the best of the district.
Great. Everyone has said something I think of significance in terms of what those kinds of characteristics should be in a superintendent or in a leader. And let me just say to you that I won't repeat all of what you said. From my perspective, this takes someone with the ability to lead with vision, with courage, and to understand that any organization, whether it be Bridgewater State University or the New Bedford School District, that's not operating at 100%, that there's some level of dysfunction, and the courage to address that, to deal with that in a respectful way, in a way that it brings people together to understand without blame that there are issues that we all need to address. And if someone can do that, and has, as the mayor said it, and said it well, when I look to hire a vice president at Bridgewater or somebody in a very significant role, their technical skills are the last thing I'm concerned about. If they're at that level, they more than likely have those skills, and that's not something I even think about. It's really, who are they? And what do they bring in terms of leadership skills, the ability to bring people together and to lead in a way that really is about the community and about progress. And I think if we can help this district find that person, we'll see some significant change. I've said it before, and I'll say it here publicly, in no area of Massachusetts, and I say this as a member of the Board of Education, as a university president, in no area of Massachusetts or no district have I seen the potential for turnaround or change as I've seen in New Bedford. I think New Bedford is poised well. It has the right leadership in the mayor's office, and it has the right people in place, and it has the right characteristics, the right kind of hope, the sense of something can happen in New Bedford. You feel it every time I come to New Bedford. So I think this job that we're about to embark upon is critical. It is important because education will be one of the foundations that will help turn the city in a different direction. So thank you for sharing your opinions. We do have some business we want to discuss. One first is timeline, and We haven't, I think, set a timeline. The hope is that we'll have a superintendent or a set of candidates for the school committee in time to appoint someone in the coming year in the district. I think, and the mayor can speak for the school committee, but I think what the school committee wants is, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, or 9 months, is to deliver the right pool of candidates and to ensure that in that pool are people that not only can do this job, but can do it well. My hope as chair, and I think it's probably your hope as committee members, is that whatever that number in that pool, that every single one of them is capable. And there are people that we think can do this job and do it well, and that's why we would advance them. So I think in terms of timeline, I think we will have to, I'd like to move as quickly as we can to really work with the search firm, with the school committee, with other entities, so that we can move as quickly as we can and bring a set of candidates to the school committee at the earliest possible date. So I think the timeline itself will unfold. I think if we tried to name the timeline right now, I think that would create us, put us in a situation that we might not perform at our highest level. I speak for myself, and I say this, that the meeting schedule, I have made this, certainly for me, other than running the university, the top priority for this year is to serve in the search committee. It's hard to know what the frequency of meetings will be, but I think we will probably, if we're going to conduct a thorough and good search, meet quite frequently throughout the course of this search. There's also the website link, and I look at Lisa and Lisa, and we'll have to work out how that works out and the technical issues there that are involved to ensure that it is an open process and that web link provides access for people who need access to understand what's going on throughout this search. So we also have for you, and I think it's in front of you, a copy of the open meeting law. Many of you, I'm sure most of you, have been involved in meetings, and I know some of you have done this extensively, as I have, and it's very important that we closely follow the open meeting law. It is about a matter of integrity and how the search is conducted, and we want people in the public sector, in this community, to really feel confident that there's full disclosure and openness throughout this search, and that we're following the proper procedures. Let me stop there and ask if there are any questions or thoughts before I talk about meeting schedules. Matt?
Do we have an idea of when the search firm will be selected?
I do. I talked with Michaela today and in the mayor's office, and the solicitations were done on September 4th, and they were available on September 4th. The final date for submission of questions was September 13th. The response due date is Wednesday, October 10th. And somewhere around the 15th, there is a committee of 3 that have been asked to review the submissions. I am one of those members. My hope is that we would do that as quickly as possible, and we really have until the 8th to do that, the 8th of November, with an award by the 13th of November. I would hope that we can do that sooner, but that's the schedule as it's been laid out right now. Michaela, is anything different than what I've described?
That's exactly it.
Okay. So that's where we are with that. In terms of meeting schedules, what would be the best time of day, the best days of week, those kinds of things. So when we begin to schedule meetings, we have a sense of what works for people, so that we're not scheduling them, in the morning when that doesn't work for you, Kathy, because you're in the high school. Or do we have a sense of time for each of you? Kathy?
Now, of course, I work during the day and I coach in the afternoon, so 6 o'clock on is good for me.
So evening is best for you?
Evening, yes. And when field hockey's over, I could meet earlier, but that's when Isaiah's coaching, so.
Yeah, I begin coaching the Monday after November, and then I finish coaching in June. So my schedule is like hers is now. And I won't know the track meet schedule until I receive it in November. But
So evening would be best for you
evening
also?
is much, best for me.
Evening is the best situation for me. I officiate field hockey, and so 6 o'clock, 6:30. Day of the week is kind of important if we could be consistent.
Yeah, that would be good. Josh, for you?
Evening is fine. The big issue, Dana, and Councilman Mitchell, I am off-site 2 or 3 days a week, given the portfolio I work with. So I have several days between now and basically the end of the calendar year that are already spoken for. I can email you dates after this conversation that could be possibilities in the next couple months.
That would be great. That would be helpful. And I think you have Lisa's email address, and if you could mail that to her, that would be terrific.
I just had a note, and I just apologize, but I really know how hard it is for you guys on top of your busy jobs to make time, and apologize for the complexity of my travel schedule. I'll be as flexible as I possibly can.
Well, it's we appreciate that, and what we want more than your travel and your presence is your expertise. So in any way we can get that would be tremendously helpful.
Happy to help.
Marcia?
I guess I'm going to be the kink in this whole thing. Timing is very difficult for me. I have classes 2 nights a week, and I have the programs that happen at the school, so it's really awkward. I'm just going to have to play it by ear with the folks here and see what's going to work.
Okay. Well, I mean, we'll obviously try to work around everybody's schedule and figure out when we can get people together. Matt?
I'm fine. I'll accommodate
Okay.
whatever works out.
So it appears for most people, evening is the best time. We'll work through that, and we'll figure it out and do that. For this initial meeting, are there any other comments? Anything anyone wants to contribute at this point or want to say?
Just a question as to whether we will be having any official public forums if that will be part of the process.
Yeah, I think that's something we really need to decide. One of the things I would like to do, and we certainly can decide some of that if we want to discuss that now, my thought was once we've engaged the consultant, then working with the consultant, I think we could better understand what process would work with the consultant and the search committee, and how in fact we conduct those. But if people want to discuss that now, we certainly can. But that's a very good point. I think we need to think about that because whatever the process, working with the consultant, working with the school committee, with this committee, one of the things that is critically important is to get public input in this process. We really need to ensure that the community in its various forms in various states and the various constituencies have a way to have input and access. And it's important, I believe, for us to hear that and understand that as we go about our work. So, anything else? Mr. Mayor, any closing comments?
No, again, thank you for serving. And the one thing I would add is, and maybe the consultant can help us out. There was probably a high time in the market when we should be out there, reaching out to candidates. We meaning you. I don't know if that's before the end of the calendar year or afterward, but I think that's something we should be mindful of when setting up the schedule. Because I think if there were good candidates out there somewhere, either working or looking or both, and we need to know when they might start to think about us.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's critical to get these search firm on board as quickly as possible so that we can address a number of those issues related to timing and so forth. Well, if there are no other issues, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Will you be contacting us also
We will.
about a future meeting?
You will get tired of hearing from me, I promise you.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, and we will be in touch very shortly once we have more information.